This woman is a legal authority figure. She has a lot of power, a lot of control. State attorneys, judges, these are the people that run the county. These are the people that make up all the rules, all the regulations. These are the people that regulate the police, that regulate the district attorneys, ex-party communication through lunch meetings, and so forth. So I found her, saying she's concerned about her son not to be problematic, or saying, she needs privacy not to be problematic. She went into the factual statements and the factual allegations that Warren Hudson stated to law enforcement and published that so the whole world could see it. So I found that to be egregious behavior, given the fact that she's in charge of the people that's in charge of conducting an investigation. So I said, Ashlee Cole, a sitting Mississippi chancellor judge, publicly commented on the Nolan Wells investigation while identifying herself as a judge. I believe the public deserves an independent review on whether that conduct complied with the Mississippi Code of Judicial Conduct. I actually have a change.org petition. I stated to you guys that I was going to post this petition and I was going to make an issue. And right there in the petition is the screenshot of her post and the screenshot that shows on her public Facebook profile that she is a judicial official. So far, this change.org petition has gotten 422 signatures. I posted it like less than 12 hours ago. So it's organically gaining traction, and people are just looking at a brief overview of what they're signing. I want to make it very clear that I have that change.org petition to be forwarded to Tate Reeves. He's the Mississippi governor, the Senate, as well as Benny Thompson in the House of Representatives for Mississippi in the Mississippi Supreme Court. These are the decision makers tied to this petition. Now, because I know how processes run and what you got to do, the first line of business is anybody in the public who sees a judge violate their sworn oath of office, no matter what state you're from, as long as you are a citizen, you can go ahead and report that judge. So in addition to that change.org petition, here is what I specifically reported to the Judicial Commission, who is the underbody of those authority figures that are going to be looking at the change.org petition. I said, dear members of the Mississippi Commission on Judicial Performance, I respectfully submit this complaint requesting that the commission investigate whether Chancellor Judge Ashlee Cole violated the Mississippi Code of Judicial Conduct through her public statements regarding the ongoing investigation into the unalivement of Nolan Xavier Wells. This complaint is not intended to question Judge Cole's right as a parent to love and support her son. Rather, it concerns whether a sitting judicial official may publicly use her platform while identifying herself as a judge to present factual assertions regarding an active criminal investigation involving her own child in a manner that undermines public confidence in the judiciary and creates an appearance of impropriety. Background: Judge Ashlee Cole serves as a chancellor for Mississippi's 16th Chancery Court District. Her public Facebook profile identifies her by judicial office and position. Following the tragic disappearance and unalivement of Nolan Xavier Wells, Judge Cole published multiple lengthy public statements on Facebook concerning the investigation. These statements were made in less than 48 hours, first 48, hint, hint, while the investigation remained active and while her son, Warren Hudson, had been interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department concerning the events of July 4th, 2026. Judge Cole's statements were subsequently republished and amplified by national media outlets, including the Shade Room, thereby reaching a substantially larger audience while she was publicly identified as a Mississippi Chancellor Judge. Public statements. Rather than limiting her comments to condolence or requesting privacy, Judge Cole publicly addressed substantial factual issues related to the investigation. Among other things, Judge Cole publicly stated that her son cooperated fully with law enforcement. Her son last saw Nolan Wells at approximately 3 p.m. on July 4, 2026. Warren Hudson and others departed Horn Island around 4:30 p.m. because their boat was taken on water and experienced a pump issue. Nolan Wells Wells voluntarily chose to remain on the island and planned to return later with another group of friends. Her family had not impeded or attempted to interfere with law enforcement's investigation. She criticized social media commentary as clickbait. She announced that her family would no longer speak with the media while continuing to publicly comment on the matter. Most notably, Judge Cole expressly acknowledged her judicial office by stating, "Yes, I am a judge." She then continued discussing the investigation and defending her family's involvement. Ethic concerns. Although judges retain First Amendment rights, judicial office carries ethical obligations that often require greater restraint than that expected of a private citizen. By publicly discussing disputed facts surrounding an active death investigation involving her own son, while simultaneously invoking her position as a judge, Judge Cole created, at minimum, an appearance that the prestige of judicial office was being associated with her family's narrative of events. Whether intentional or not, these statements carried greater weight because they originated from a sitting chancellor judge rather than an ordinary citizen. The issue presented is not whether Judge Cole intended to influence the investigation, but whether a reasonable member of the public could perceive that. The prestige of judicial office was being used to lend credibility to her family's account. The judiciary had aligned itself with one version of disputed events. Her judicial status could affect public confidence in impartial administration of justice. The integrity of the judiciary depends not only upon actually impartiality, but upon the appearance of impartiality. Mississippi Code of Judicial Conduct. I respectfully request that the Commission determine whether Judge Cole's conduct is consistent with the following provisions of Mississippi Code of Judicial Conduct. Canon 1 requires judges to uphold the integrity and independence of the judiciary. Public commentary by a judge concerning an active criminal investigation involving her immediate family member risks undermining public confidence in judicial neutrality. Canon 2 requires judges to act at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity, impartiality, and independence of the judiciary. Judge Cole's public dissemination of factual assertions regarding the investigation may reasonably cause members of the public to question whether the judiciary is impartial. Canon 2B prohibits judges from allowing family relations to influence judicial conduct and prohibits lending the prestige of judicial office to advance the private interests of family members. Judge Cole repeatedly identified herself as a judge while publicly defending circumstances involving her son and presenting factual assertions favorable to his involvement. The Commission should determine whether these actions improperly associated the prestige of judicial office with the family's interests. Canon 3B9 generally discourages judges from making public comments concerning pending or impending proceedings that could reasonably affect their fairness or outcome. Although the precise procedural posture of the investigation may determine the canon's applicability, Judge Cole publicly discussed factual matters directly related to an active law enforcement investigation that could foreseeably become the subject of criminal or civil proceedings, as it is civil proceedings. The Commission should determine whether these public statements were consistent with the judicial restraint contemplated by Canon 3B9. National decimation. Judge Cole's statements were not limited to a private audience. National media outlets, including the Shade Room, republished the statements while identifying her as a Mississippi chancellor judge. As a result, her comments reached an audience far beyond her local community, substantially increasing the likelihood that members of the public would associate the authority and prestige of judicial office with her family's public narrative. Reason for investigation. I respectfully request that the Mississippi Commission of Judicial Performance investigate whether Judge Cole's conduct violated the Mississippi Code of Judicial Conduct or otherwise created an appearance of impropriety inconsistent with the high ethical standards expected of Mississippi judges. Specifically, I ask the Commission to determine whether Judge Cole improperly used or appeared to use the prestige of judicial office in connection with matters involving her immediate family. Judge Cole's public statements undermine public confidence in the impartiality and integrity of the judiciary. Judge Cole's comments concerning an active death investigation were consistent with the ethical obligations imposed upon Mississippi judges. I recognize that judges, like all citizens, have personal issues and family obligations. Nevertheless, judges are held to exceptionally high ethical standards because public confidence in the judicial system depends upon both actual impartiality impartiality and the appearance of impartiality. For those reasons, I respectfully request that the commission review Judge Cole's conduct and take whatever action it deems appropriate under Mississippi law and the Mississippi Code of Judicial Conducts. Thank you. Sincerely, Denot Ricketts. Okay? This is how you actually make substantial change in places that it needs to be. Jackson County, Mississippi is known for systemic racism. Did we forget about Trey Reed, the black student that was hung at Delta State University over there in Mississippi as well? It just got swept under the rug. There was no ambulance chases behind that getting a second autopsy. They just accepted the fact that this boy was in a tree hanging, and they said he climbed up there by himself and hung himself with a rope. Sound like a frat hazing to me is what it sounds like. A whole bunch of people involved, and a whole bunch of people got a whole bunch of secrets to protect because their families and their friends are involved directly or indirectly through their kids who probably was associated with these heinous acts that typically happen to black boys, and it goes unaccounted for. Emmett Till happened a long time ago in Mississippi. Even then, those people got away with their crimes. Why in 2026 we still need to deal with an Emmett Till situation? No matter how you look at it, that's what it is. We must go out the systems of racism and not just racist people. Play the game, smile in their face the same way they play the game and smile in your face too. Don't get too close to them. And don't let them tokenize you to where you be the only black person in the building. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised.
What is in your life's blueprint?